Hello! Welcome to the Writer's Blockade podcast. We
Yes.
we decided on a name in between episodes, and it's it's okay.
Yeah. We
um,
should we should probably explain why it's called the Writer's Blockade.
well, because I don't know if there's much explaining to do.
I mean, it's a bit self-explanatory. It's writer's block and arcade.
Yeah, not to be
But
confused with a military blockade. Totally
yes,
different deal.
indeed.
It's fine. Once we get our logo commissioned by someone, we'll
Our friends get too bored and just do it for us.
yeah, exactly. Well, when I say get them commissioned, we have free art labor that we can just solicit outwards. I feel like it should have something to do with like an old arcade style console system.
Yeah.
And then that would make it a little bit more clear. But I don't know. Um, one thing I did realize listening back, like doing the very basic editing for our last podcast, is my voice is really a lot more nasally than I expect it to be.
Yeah, I feel
It
I didn't sound the how I thought I'd sound.
Yeah, it's weird because like when I'm listening to it, I'm just like, oh yeah, that sounds fine. That's like pretty much exactly what JC sounds like. It's so weird.
Because yeah, you sound different to on a recording because a recording is how you actually sound, but you sound different to yourself than a recording will.
Yeah, you sound how you want to sound.
Yeah,
Uh,
pretty much.
uh. So we had a couple things lined up to talk today. We sort of promised that we would talk about League last
Oh yeah,
podcast,
yeah, I remember
and
that.
since we used the League for our outro animation or our outro music, we could talk about that. Or instead, we can be topical and we can talk about Mother's Day. And I love my mother, so I would rather talk about Mother's Day right now than the
We can talk
Salt
about
Fest.
League later. We have a ton of time, honestly.
Well, I mean, now we said that we talk about League, but what is there to talk about?
There is a
Like,
lot to talk about League. It's just what you want to focus on, really.
yeah, oh man, I don't really want to cause we don't want to read out patch notes. Like
Mm.
that'd be pretty lame.
Yeah, no, I think we'd be more discussing like overall experience and our thoughts on the game
Yeah.
more than like the technicality or changes we want to see. I mean, we could
Well,
discuss that,
he,
but
here's the thing about that, right? Where it's like if we make this a pod, like if we start talking specifically about League and like the specifics that like only people who play the game would understand, it immediately alienates anyone else who
oh yeah,
doesn't
that's
play
true.
League. So
We could like talk about it from a perspective like someone who's just getting into League kind of thing. No?
yeah. I mean, I was gonna say that we could like try to recommend it, but do we really want to do that?
No, I wouldn't want to wish that upon my worst enemy, to be perfectly frank.
Don't play League of Legends, but do.
Don't, yeah, just don't.
I don't think that we can say that since we're totally stealing their music.
Oh yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't think they'd mind
not sponsored,
casual. Yeah, not sponsored. We're
but play League
sponsored by
of Lego
Pepsi, I
Land.
swear.
Sponsored by Pepsi.
Yeah, it's in the footnote. That's why we always say
Pepsi!
their name is Pepsi.
We're almost Coca-Cola.
But we're not. Oh, so I was talking to my Italian friend, yeah, and apparently he's about 20 right now, and he's almost 21. So that's how old he is. And then I said his name wrong, and I'm probably gonna butcher it again.
Okay.
But he said it's Ondaville,
On.
and yeah, I found out because you know how people pronounce or different cultures pronounce the alphabet differently.
Yeah.
We kind of completely forgot about that. So I was like, "Oh yeah, I said it right," and he's like, "No, you didn't. You sound filthy American." And
On Devil.
oops,
You gotta sound.
Ondaville. Like,
On
Also, he said we keep like saying like I just did right then, and the more you think about it, the more you do it, and it's really hard to break.
yeah,
And
Eh,
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much
it's a speech pattern that I have been made fun of on occasion.
me too. My
Where
own parents were, I almost said it again. My own parents confronted me about it and said, "Stop saying it," and I tried my best. It's a lot less worse than it was. Anyway, I also told Ande that I he says I pronounce his name Andy, but the pronunciation is different on the alphabet again. But I told him I'd mention him once per episode, so that's that.
you're already making promises. Literally the only views that we have on this are from our friends,
I
and
know.
they didn't listen to the whole thing.
He actually listened to the whole thing. I
Oh,
was
did he?
very impressed. Yeah, listened to the whole entire thing.
Well, that's good. That means that he can hear us butcher his name over and over
Exactly.
again, never to get it right, because we're Americans and we have no idea
Yes.
how anything goes outside of
Also,
our own culture.
he when he heard your stereotypical Italian accent, he he basically said, "Where I don't know where that actually comes from because we actually sound nothing like that." And
Hey, baba da
from yeah,
baba.
from personal experience, it's true. They sound nothing like that.
It's
I can't even properly do their accent.
me.
It's
Well, I mean, I'm completely pulling this out of my ass, but didn't it was probably like that when Italians came over to America like 100 years ago, like maybe back then that was the accent they had because accents change over time,
oh
right?
yeah, that's true. Maybe. I mean, they must have made a lot of long-lasting jokes for them to, or for us to still be making that. It could also have just been Family Guy.
That yeah, just media, cultural appropriation,
True.
scoffs.
Right, so you wanted to talk about Mother's Day, though.
Yeah.
Getting back on topic.
What are you planning to do for your mother on Mother's Day?
Um, I asked her what she wanted to do, and she just said nothing. Um, she just didn't want to spend any money or anything.
I
And
gotcha.
we suggested things like barbecues, but only she knows how to barbecue, so,
Oh,
you know, just various sorts of problems. But I probably shouldn't say this aloud because, you know, I lived in the same household as her. But
just be super quiet,
maybe
super
we should
sneaky.
just, like, cook for her, something? I don't know.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, she would enjoy that.
Breakfast in bed, you know, who knows?
I think the trick that I found is that it's usually the little things. Cause like I mean I obviously can't speak for everyone's mom, but like my mom like like she doing the chores for her is fine and it's like whatever. But she likes the little things. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna make my own card for her. Um,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
yeah, it doesn't have to be all that flashy. Like you can just be like literally construction paper and pencil and get some crayon in there. But it's I don't know. She likes it. Like for Christmas, I bought a whole bunch of guitar picks, like green ones and red ones, and I made a little Christmas ornament for her. And like she was like this is the greatest present. And it was I felt good, man. It felt good. But this Mother's Day, I did the same thing. And I asked her, I was like, what would you like me to do? And she was like, I want you to dig a hole for me. And,
Dig a hole?
yeah, a hole. And I said the same thing. I was like, dig a hole? She's like, yes. She wants to like plant a tree in our
Oh,
backyard.
okay. I was slightly thinking metaphorically, as in she was about to roast you or something.
She's gonna like say some snide comeback.
Yeah, exactly.
No, she solicited my brother as well, but my brother already finished his hole, and I haven't even started mine.
Well, Holes are kind of hard to dig.
Yeah, and
I
here's
learned
the
that the hard way.
here's the thing. My mom's birthday is actually tomorrow.
Oh,
So
oh yeah, that's right. You said that.
yeah, so she said it's like her combination birthday and um Mother's Day present. And so I'm gonna have to go in there and dig a hole probably tonight. I need to actually get started.
I feel like that sucks. Anytime someone is born near a holiday where you do something special for that person, it kind of backfires because everyone just wants to combine them towards where you wish it'd just be two separate events so you could get rewarded
Yeah,
more. You know what I mean?
I gotcha. But like, I don't know. Like I was like, "What do you want for like your birthday and Mother's Day, Mom?" And she said, "I want you to dig a hole for me for both of them." She said that so
Oh, she
maybe
wants you to dig two holes.
well, she wanted me to dig a hole and my brother to dig a hole.
Ah,
We split the workforce, you see.
okay, okay, I see.
And I have not done my job. Huh. I love her though. I love my mom.
I agree. I love your mom as well.
What it
Eh, I'm just kidding.
All
I
right.
mean, I'm sure she's a nice person,
You've
and I'm
met
happy that I
her.
get to. I know. I she said I was a really good GPS.
What?
Okay, 'cause she had to drop me off at my friend's
Oh.
house,
Oh
and
yeah.
so she didn't know how to get there, so I had to pull up Google Maps for her, and
And so
I don't know. I wasn't expecting this because I figured I was just doing a normal job, or kind of a bad job in my own opinion. But after we had arrived, she said, "You know, he's a really good GPS. He's really good at giving
I
directions."
mean,
And
he,
I was like, "Oh, okay, thanks."
here's the thing. Both of my parents are horrible at giving directions. And
Uh,
so they constantly like try to they constantly ride together when we go camping. And my dad will drive and my mom will give directions, or my mom will drive and my dad will give directions. And both of them like are, oh man, like my parents, I am very fortunate and my parents love each other very much, but when it comes to like 6 hour car drives and
no one
giving
loves more than that.
directions, it's inevitable where someone misses their turn and then like everyone gets angry and it's like, oh boy.
Oh God. I
Oh
mean, I gave bus directions to my bus driver once because we get substitutes every now and then,
yeah.
and he said, "You're just like the GPS." And pretty much any time someone says I'm good at giving directions, I think of your mom. It's not like a weird way, but quite literally, it makes me think, is she right or isn't she?
She is. My mom's always right about everything.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Well, there we. Oh shoot! You want to know what I forgot? I forgot to get out my notebook with the whole
Oh,
list of topics. There's
why
no.
don't you just go get it then?
I'm getting it right now, but
Oh,
pro-
okay. Wow.
professionalism.
This is the
Uh,
second episode. We have just started. We're not gonna be. It's probably better if we're not professional from the start, so way down the line, people can see it and see,
they can
oh,
see that we
wow,
didn't
they kind of
improve
sucked
at
anyway.
all, because
Yeah,
no one is gonna
we'll be the
watch
exact
this.
same way we are now, then like 30 episodes in.
Okay. Uh, okay. I have a few topics now. The first thing that I actually wanted to cover is so I was talking to my friend Knox, and I was telling her because she was asking if we could hang out, and I was
In
like, I
person or?
well, no, like just like hang out, like play a game, like play Payday or whatever.
Oh, where is Nox from again?
She's from Ireland.
Okay, okay, I thought I forgot, but I didn't.
Those hollowed isles. Um, but what she is, because I told her, I was like, oh yeah, we're recording a podcast today. And she was like, "Oh, do you have like a schedule, or are you just doing it whenever?" And I said, "We're planning on doing it bi-weekly is the thing." And she gave the recommendation where it's like, she actually really doesn't like channels that produce too much content because it makes it too
Yeah,
difficult to catch up.
yeah,
And so, I don't know. Maybe this isn't quite the place for it, but she just said that like it like once right now it's fine since no one's really listening, and
yeah,
the main thing that we're trying to do for the channel is sort of get enough videos up. So it's
yeah,
like because I mean once people stumble across our channel and it's like, oh, there's only one video up, no one's gonna subscribe to our
yeah,
podcast,
exactly.
to our podkizzle. Can that be our motto, by the way?
Well, say it again.
Subscribe to our podkizzle,
Subscribe to our podkizzle.
please.
It
We
is the most lovely, cringy thing I've ever heard.
we I don't know about you, JC, but I personally only feed off of the attention that others give me. So,
Isn't that with everyone, though? If we're gonna be real here.
ooh, that's deep, man. That's deep.
Exactly.
Uh, okay, exhausted that topic.
I
Unless
mean, hold on. Actually, I do have something to add here. Ande also said it seemed. Well, he was joking, but he said it seems a bit spammy because uh, I don't know why I didn't know this, but bi-weekly has two definitions. It either means twice a month, because it like two times
yeah,
once per 2 weeks, or 2 times a week. And he thought it was 2 times a month. So he said, seems a bit spammy, but just kidding. So, but when you said, well, Knox's opinion, it just made me think. I mean,
I
this isn't too bad, right? Just 2 episodes per week,
yeah,
because especially with the YouTube algorithm,
the
uh,
YouTube algorithm.
they don't really appreciate people who post once every or twice every month,
That's true,
and
but I
those
mean,
channels tend to die or
we're
not pick up any speed.
we're never gonna get like we're never gonna be like mainstream popular, right?
No, yeah, I can get behind that.
Um,
But
but this is I think that we should mostly just kind of like play it by ear. I think
yeah,
that biweekly for now is fine, especially since we're just trying
yeah,
to.
I'm pretty fine with bi-weekly. I mean, if need be, we could just do one episode a week every now and then.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we can always pull back or go harder. We can record
Yeah.
daily podcasts.
Oh,
I'm sure.
daily, yeah, daily 1 hour podcast, something everyone has time for.
uh, but yeah, I think that we'll figure it out. Cause I mean, at some point we might have an actual structure to this instead of just
That's, yeah.
waffling around.
At one point, we'll have a segment specifically dedicated to the Elite Team End segment, where well,
You
yeah.
know, I actually do. I actually do have a game that we could play if we wanted to do so.
Oh,
I
what's that?
I probably should have brought this up with you beforehand. We can always cut this if we don't want
It's
to
okay.
do
It's
it.
it's more authentic this way.
More authentic. But I actually scoured the internet a little bit, and I pulled up a couple fan fiction story summaries.
Oh,
And I also wrote a couple of my own,
oh,
and I was wondering if you could guess which ones were fake and which ones were real.
as in which ones you wrote and which ones
Yeah,
are from
which
the internet.
I didn't write the whole fan fiction. I just like wrote the summary, and
Oh,
I tried to make it tricky, of
okay,
sorts.
okay. So
Okay.
is this the Elite Team Men segment then, or?
The elite. No. The elite team men segment could be our guest segment. We
Oh,
bring in the elite team men.
I mean, the Elite Team Men should have something to do with fan fiction, though, shouldn't it?
Once again, no one has any idea what the elite team
It's
men is.
fine. That makes it even better. to be
I
honest.
feel like we should also okay. All right.
But yeah, we should totally do that game.
You want to do it now?
If you want to,
Yeah.
we could save it for later, or we could do it now.
Let's
Our audience, well, one person wants to hear it now.
Speaking of which, Sam was supposed to be a guest on our podcast today, but
Oh
he
yeah,
said that he was
was
busy.
supposed to be busy, and here he is,
And he's the only
relaxing
one
in the chat.
listening. The only
Yeah,
one who will ever listen.
he'll probably leave randomly at one point.
Guess who wrote it or I riot?
Oh my god.
Alright. Okay. Let's start the game, shall we? Alright.
Yeah, let's start.
So I'm mostly winging these, by the way.
Okay.
Like I have basic notes down, so they're all none of them are gonna sound very well rehearsed. Okay. So the first one up on our list is actually a slash fic. And
God.
it's a League of Legends fan fiction.
Oh god.
And it's basically about so it's about Bard, and he's going on a journey collecting his chimes when Kindred grabs one of the chimes, and they have some back and forth together, and things get hot and steamy, let's
Oh.
just say.
Oh.
All right.
Oh my.
So, would you say that was a real fan fiction or one that I just made up?
I would totally say that's a real fan fiction.
It's actually not. I just made
Dang.
that up.
Uh, I
I
could totally see that.
there's none like there might be some of these, but I'm just not aware of them. All right. So okay, that was the one that I didn't really have read. So the rest ones I actually have descriptions. One. Okay. Here's one. When the new leader of Spectre, Spectre being the James Bond like secret villain society.
Alright.
When the new leader of Spectre threatens to turn every child in Europe into a donkey, it's up to James Bond to stop his nefarious plan. But he can't do it alone, which is why MI6 must call upon the aid of time-traveling Pinocchio, Jiminy Cricket, Lampwick, Geppetto. Why they're traveling through time to fight evil isn't made clear, but since any attempt at an explanation would probably make our heads explode, we're not going to complain. So,
Uh,
crossover fanfiction between Pinocchio and the James Bond movies.
you see, I could very clearly see someone doing this, but the fake ones are ones you made up, correct?
Yes.
Alright. So, you know what? I'm gonna say it's real.
That's correct.
Okay, good.
It is a real
$1
fanfiction.
million.
Well, do you? I don't have a prize ready. You get bonus
The
points.
prize is satisfaction, and
Yeah.
I'm more than okay with that.
Exactly. Okay. Next one.
Alright.
Sonic plays the role of President Nixon in this political crime drama retelling of the story of Watergate. Sonic playing the role of a collapsing president falling into the ruin of scandal in this 11-chapter and continuing story.
Okay, I'm saying this is fake because Sonic. Just because Sonic.
This is 100% real.
Oh my god, you're
I
kidding.
the first one I googled like bad fan fiction, but I could that was the only interesting one that I could find. I was just like whatever, I'll just go into the first page of fanfiction.net. That was on the first page.
That was on the first page.
It's still continuing, that means, cuz it's organized by updated chapters.
Wait, so someone is still writing this?
Yeah, it has 11 chapters. And it's
I don't know whether to be disappointed or extremely impressed.
probably both.
Both, yeah, definitely both.
Okay. This next one I actually picked for you.
Okay.
In this Kingdom Hearts fanfiction, a
Oh,
teenage boy named Darius becomes one of an extinct special force units that, quoting the actual fanfiction, are warriors who wield not keyblades, but gun keyblades, traveling between the worlds of everywhere from Ratchet and Clank to Star Wars.
that actually sounds pretty freaking cool. And that sounds pretty real, so I'm gonna go with real.
You wanna have the sweet gun keyblade?
Yeah. I mean, Kid Icarus Uprising did a gunblade thing.
Well, doesn't Kingdom Hearts have a gunblade? Like, doesn't a guy there have like a gun
Probably, yeah,
sword?
I think so. I'm pretty sure there is.
I remember that
I
from the
frankly
first
remember
game.
this.
But yes, it is real. Where it's a military, like it's a guy who has like wants to be in the military and also really likes Kingdom Hearts.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. I don't even want to imagine you're in the military and I don't know, you mess up, and as punishment, the sergeant has you read your fan fiction.
Oh god. All right. Here's the next one. In this crossover slash fic, Tails builds a machine that allows him to look inside himself and see the inner workings of his own emotions. But what happens when, in a quest to get rid of his own depression, he falls in love with the very emotion of sadness? This is a crossover between Sonic the Hedgehog and Inside Out.
Okay. I'm gonna say this is fake.
Man, you are either really good at this or I am really bad at this.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I made that one up.
Okay.
I thought that it was, but I think that would be a good one. I wouldn't be surprised.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, maybe I should have written more of these, but I only have one last one, and
Just one more.
yeah, just one more. I didn't finish this. Oh god, I'm incapable. All right, last one though. So in this story, there's Sanic, and he works with Tails. Sorry. So there's Sanic World, and Tails gets recruited in with basically God ninjas, who are agents of Jesus Christ, and they fight the Devil's agents. What do you think?
I'm gonna go with real.
Yes. Not only is this real, but this was actually a massive series
A massive
that
series.
spanned across multi. It was like a universe that a lot of people wrote stories for, including me.
I,
There was
As
this.
soon as I heard Jesus fighting, that screamed real fan fiction. honestly. I hear so many things with, oh yeah, Sonic and my OC plus Jesus fighting bad guys.
Yeah, there's this whole. At least for context, when I was 13, I used to write Sonic fan fiction. And that's where the Elite Team Men comes from.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now they know. Now
Yeah.
they know the Elite Team Men comes from Josh's.
They were the main character. Were they? They were the. I guess that it's
They were the Elite
self-explanatory.
Team Men characters.
They were the elite team men that would go in when they needed elite people. Elite team men specifically. Uh,
All right. Well, does
We're
that
good.
mean we can have the Elite Team Men segment where we talk about fan fiction?
we're gonna cut this whole thing. We're done.
No, please don't cut the whole thing.
Oh
One
my
of my
god.
favorite parts so far already.
Okay, we can make it an actual thing. I'll do it better next time. I'll actually hopefully be able to make it a challenge. I'll dig up. We'll do a second part at least to this, and I'll dig up some of the grimiest, darkest fan fiction. Cause you only missed one, I think, that entire time. You only missed the first one.
Yeah, I think it was one or two actually.
We didn't keep track of the score.
Yeah, we didn't even keep track. Sam kept track of his own score, but we didn't keep track of ours.
Okay. Alright. Wait, Sam kept track of his own score?
Yeah.
Rip chat. Should we mention chat at all? Like,
I mean,
it's sort of excluding people who aren't part of the
what
friends.
we could do in the future maybe is create a well, because we're gonna Twitch stream eventually anyway,
Yeah,
so
that
it's
that
not too exclusive.
that's true.
But
We're
if
practicing.
we really wanted to, we could have a Discord channel, like an exclusive Discord channel, where it's just a bunch of people with randoms, and
It's
they can chat during the
it's
podcast kind of thing.
it's probably
But
better to just do it over Twitch.
yeah, I'm saying like when we're not doing Twitch, it'd be this.
Okay.
For whatever reason, if we're not doing Twitch, because various reasons such as internet or whatever.
Yeah. I'll have to see if I can figure it out. Okay. We are called the Writer's Blockade. So I figure it's only appropriate that we talk about some more writing stuff, don't you?
Yes. Yeah, it just makes sense,
We
honestly.
we should we could probably divide it up into more organized sections. But I have a couple questions for you, JC. Have you do you still write a lot? Like, do you write pretty regularly still, or?
Um, no, I don't really write too regularly. It kind of depends on my schedule. I mean, I was literally writing during my engineering class today, and I worked a little bit on my speech for an AP Lang assignment, but
Yeah.
I don't tend to write when there's a lot going on, such as if I have a bunch of projects that I need to do, and a bunch of teachers want me to study for tests or whatnot, because there's not a lot of time for writing because I have to dedicate that time elsewhere. But if I have free time, or for whatever reason I just pull my book up, I'll work on it.
Yeah, I gotcha. Uh, what I've sort of been doing, cause I mean, I'm pretty lazy, and unreliable.
I feel that.
So I'm very the way I tend to write is I'll have like a week or two where it's like every day I'll just like write, and then I won't write for another like 3 months. But what I've been doing recently that's sort of been helping me out is because I also spend way too much time on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
So I sort of I did a thing where it was like I can only really watch YouTube anymore once I've written 500 words.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's like if I'm not feeling inspired or whatever, I can just go play video games, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's like man, that YouTube itch just needs to be scratched. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just
I spent the night at my friend's house a few times, and so I fell behind on my usual YouTube watch schedule,
yeah.
and I just have so much content that I have to catch up on. It came to a point where hopefully there's a day I have absolutely nothing to do, no one is around, and I just have all this stuff, all this content to just binge watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotcha.
But
It's
until then, it's just kind of resting there.
yeah, I gotcha. I I have a problem, JC. Like I will literally there have been days where I literally just like get home, like watch YouTube and just like hours just slowly go by. Sure enough, soon enough I look over and it's like, "Oh god, I just wasted like 6 hours of my night
Yeah.
doing nothing else." It's just so good at keeping you just held in there and making
I mean,
sure.
that's kind of what they want to do.
Yeah, but it's not very good for me. And
Yeah.
I know that playing video games isn't all that much better, but like at least I'm thinking somewhat when I play like League of Legends or whatever.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. It's
Just wasting away in your chair.
yeah. Like cuz here's the thing. I don't even really watch most of the time. Like I'll just put it on and then just like
Yeah, it makes
vegetate.
background noise as you do something
Not
else.
not even that. Like yeah, like I'll be like talking to friends or whatever, but it'll be like literally just hours go by that I'm just not perceiving because I'm just sitting there, just not really thinking about anything. It turns the brain. It's I'm like a house husband in like the in like the 60s, where it's like I get home and I just like sit down in front of the TV. Yeah, house husband. It's like a housewife.
No, no, no. I just the term is funny.
Yeah, I just get home from work and I like go, honey, get the lamb chops on, and
God.
then I go sit down and just like crack open a beer, except it's actually a Coca-Cola, and I just sponsored by Pepsi.
Did you crack open a beer? I mean Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I'm gonna edit it so it's just like I'm talking and it's like all like edited over Coca-Cola. It's just gonna say Pepsi, just like super robotic. It's just like sponsored by Pepsi. We totally are. We promise. They're giving us literally millions of dollars.
Exactly. We're getting so much money. We should honestly just stop making videos.
Yeah, exactly. But they just keep pouring it in, man. It's just like
Why
we
not, you know?
we love the writer's blockade.
Sometimes I need those dollar bills for origami, just on the fly.
Just on the fly.
I can buy a nice, refreshing, not sponsored by Pepsi, and then I can do origami with the rest of the bills.
You could do origami with a can. You could like
Oh, that's true.
you could do so
I
much.
don't even like soda. That's the funny part.
You don't like soda? That's
No, I don't like
probably
soda.
really good for you, actually. I don't know why I'm indignant about that. Cause I don't
I
really.
like carbonation in general.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So,
The thing is that I don't really like coffee all that much, and
too.
I'm so tired all the time, and so it's like I need that caffeine overdose. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I need the drugs to keep me going.
I'm reliant on drugs.
Like, oh man, I'm not gonna. If we weren't sponsored by Pepsi, I would definitely say that I was addicted to Coca-Cola. But I'm actually. Or wait,
You
yeah,
know we're
I said that right.
required, under technicality, you're required to say that you're not sponsored by something.
We are
You're not
though.
allowed to say you're sponsored
We
by
are
something.
100% sponsored by Pepsi. Totally. I am. They like literally. There's a guy you can't see because we don't have face cam. But literally, there's a guy from Pepsi just making it rain dollar bills with every time I say the word Pepsi.
For every time he talks for about 30 seconds, not consecutively. He just throws $1,000 bill at Josh's face.
Yeah, exactly. It like crumpled up and it like bounces off my forehead.
Yes.
It's like bunk. Every time I say Pepsi.
Oh, there's another.
Pepsi, 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 Pepsi.
Oh my god. Anyway, yeah, we are not sponsored by Pepsi.
We're definitely sponsored by Pepsi.
Okay.
But should we put in like subliminal messaging?
Oh my god, subliminal. You just start talk Pepsi and keep saying the word Pepsi, and with as we Pepsi talk, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
suddenly Pepsi, they'll just want to Pepsi, have Pepsi, you know what I mean, Pepsi?
Yeah, exactly. That was a completely natural flow of thought you had there, Jake Holland.
Exactly, Pepsi. I taught Pepsi like this, Pepsi all the time.
I was thinking that I would do it in the editing. Like, I would just, like, really low, like, audio in the background. Just, like, really central, like, Pepsi. Oh. Assuming.
Do you even like Pepsi?
I've never had it.
Oh my god.
I've literally never had Pepsi before. But I don't need to taste Pepsi to know that it's the greatest drink ever, sponsored by Pepsi.
Do you know Studio C?
Yeah.
Okay, see, the one thing I love about their skits, they have like a running joke going on, and it's with Dasani bottled water. And basically, I don't know if they're even sponsored or not, but if whatever the case, it's hilarious. Where if they intentionally exaggerate the sponsorship in a skit where it seemingly shouldn't pop up,
Yeah.
and they'll be like, it's like, wow, his breath is refreshing, like Dasani bottled water.
That's what
Dasani.
I wanna be like that. You wanna know what
Exactly.
you wanna know what I really wanna do is I like when eventually since we're sponsored by Pepsi and we're getting like billions of dollars, I want it to on the off chance that we're not sponsored by Pepsi, I want Pepsi to like give us a cease and desist order, and then like we just switch to like we're like sponsored by Papsi, the actual greatest soda. I want this. I want it. I would want it to be a running
Troubles of
joke
Tomorrow with Papsi.
where it's like we're like live streaming on Twitch, and in the corner, it's like the Pepsi logo, but like fucked up slightly,
Yeah,
like copyright
it's like
safe.
it's an oval or no, yeah, no.
It's an
It's
oval, and the white
it's
stripe
upside
is
down.
down the middle, and the red is on the left, and the blue is on the right.
Wouldn't that just look like the American flag?
Well, no, because it wouldn't be like no, like the stripe is going up and down.
Oh yeah, okay, never mind.
Yeah,
I see.
so it's like the Pepsi logo stretched out and rotated 90 degrees. And I want like I want everything to be everything that we say to be sponsored by Papsi.
You know what's funny?
What?
We think of Coca-Cola and Pepsi as rival companies, right?
Yeah.
They're owned by the same corporation. You want to know what that corporation is called?
What?
Well, I probably shouldn't have said that because I'm not 100% sure, but I'm like 30% sure it's PepsiCo. So
PepsiCo? Our overlords?
maybe they, I don't know, from a business perspective, you're this giant corporation and you churn out two different of the basically same drink.
Well, isn't
Where you say compete with each other, and they say, "Don't we both work for you?" And then they say, "Yeah, but money."
I don't think they really compete though. Like it's not like they're running anti-ads against each other. It's just
Yeah,
that everyone assumed that they compete.
when's the last time you
Are
saw
you
an
are you
anti-ad?
absolutely sure that Pepsi and Coca-Cola are run by the same company?
Yes, I am sure about that.
I'm gonna Google this. Hang on.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
And Coke owned by the same company. Let's fact check before we put this on the internet.
Go to
You are com
HillaryClinton.com.
yeah. Oh no, you're completely wrong.
What? No.
Unlike its rival Coca-Cola, PepsiCo has expanded outside of the beverage market. You know that there's a reason where it's like when you go to a restaurant, sometimes they have 7 Up and sometimes they have Sierra Mist. Because if it depends on
They're owned by the same person, but not the same company.
what?
I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of contradictory articles here.
I think that we should be very careful not to disappoint our Pepsi overlords. I don't want our
That's
sponsorship taken away.
That's true.
Can we just call this episode?
Guys, remember?
Can we call this episode sponsored by Papsi?
Yes. Boom. We already have a title.
There we go. Sponsored by Papsi. Pepsi's for chumps by Papsi. That's their motto. Oh god. All right. Well, that was a good bit. That was a good bit. What a tangent from how do we keep writing. I actually did.
Yeah.
I actually did want to ask you, because I'm more of a short stories guy, but you've been working on pretty much the same story since you were like 12, right, JC?
Yeah. I mean, since I'd say about fifth grade onward, maybe.
Yeah. Did you wanna talk about that? I think that it could be
Kinda like
interesting.
the development kind of process.
Well, I mean, like, do you just want to say like what the general idea of your project? If you don't think it'll be good, then we can.
Oh, the general premise. Like, what do you want to know? What's it about, or what?
Yeah, I would like to know the general like because you aren't doing a normal book, are you?
No, not really. I mean,
Tell me about your
the
project,
the, the
JC.
problem with my book really is I'm mostly writing it as a book because I kind of don't really have any other options, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because I'd much rather see this book realized as more of a manga kind of style or light novel anime kind of thing.
Comic books,
Yeah, well, yeah, pretty much.
graphic novels.
I want to. It's kind of like I want to write and make an anime, but I live in America, so sucks to suck. Kinda.
Well, there are anime inspired
I
Western
know,
cartoons,
but it's not that.
but none of them are good.
Yeah, that too. Anyway, so yeah, okay. So basically, the premise of the story is it's kind of a love child of a bunch of inspirations of things I like
Yeah,
growing up and just as of now too. But basically, the story is about someone called the Seeker, and that's short for the Seeker of Hope. The
yeah,
book is called Legend of the Seeker, and basically he's going to go through several different arcs, and each arc, of course, has its own different conflict. But you're still building off. It's the same story though, in that it's literally structured kind of like an anime. You have the same character premise you build off each episode and whatnot, but there's different arcs with different conflicts that they have to overcome, and you don't necessarily overcome the whole conflict in one book. So there are several books dedicated
yeah.
to each kind of arc.
So it is like a manga, like Dragon
Yes,
Ball.
yes, exactly. And basically, the Seeker is named in this story is named Jevacrass, and he comes from a line of Seekers. And basically, Jevacrass is the special child because I'm focusing on like what story would not focus on the special child? Why settle for the ugly second cousin or something? Anyway, uh, so basically,
Papsi doesn't care if you're an ugly second cousin. Bye,
exactly
Papsi.
my path. Anyway, he claims the Sword of Hope, and it's nicknamed Faith. And from there on out, he just overcomes different conflicts as the Seeker, who's meant to fulfill all these prophecies, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
basic
it's
premise.
yeah, it's you talked about this last podcast I think where it's like it's kind of a generic premise but you like it that way. You like putting your own
Yes,
spin on it.
it's stereotypical, but it's my own story.
Yeah.
It might sound similar to something else, but it's different because of the way I write it, or the different characters, or situation, whatnot. But yes.
Yeah. Uh I mean there's obviously a pretty decent niche market for
Hmm.
like graphic especially like even here in America. Um I think you could pull it off, but like the thing about it is that it becomes like a sort of lifetime project. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the guy who writes Dragon Ball still writes Dragon Ball.
I'm kind of fine with that though, because that's something I kind of go for.
Yeah, I
I
gotcha.
mean, when I wrote this story, I wasn't thinking of, oh, I want to end it for sure here. I wanted it to be something that I could just keep writing and writing and writing and writing about. And I know some people don't really like that, but that's kind of what I want to go for. I don't want to write
Well,
something that can be exhausted. I want to be able to keep building off of it.
it's popular so long as you get popular, but it's like
I
uh
can write other stuff and
yeah.
other stories.
But like
You know.
have you ever cuz it seems kind of like webcomic-y. Like that's sort of the scene that it's in America.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like rather than releasing a like whole graphic novel every month or something, every week you make a new panel. Is sort of the gist of it. And
Wait, really?
yeah, do you not know about like
I don't
webcomics?
actually. I don't.
Oh well, because that's sort of what it strikes me as. Is it's like it's this phenom. It's pretty much exactly what you're saying. Where it's like some people will do like comedy stuff where it's like none of them are really connected, but a lot of people will do like they'll every week they'll put a new panel on their webcomic and literally you just build onto it. Like Homestuck was the
But a single panel. That just
no,
seems.
like not like a single panel, like a single page, and that page will have like
Oh, okay.
however many panels you want.
Because I was
Yeah,
thinking
sorry.
if it was a single like panel every week, oh my god, the pacing would be unbelievably slow.
Well, yeah,
I could not handle that.
one there's a couple like horror web comics, and they're really interesting because yet like a lot of times there will just be like 7 pages of just like tension building.
Mm,
And of course, that means like 2 months of nothing happening if you're doing a
yeah.
webcomic.
Ugh.
But it is like feasibly something that you could do. Whereas publishing a whole manga might be tough
Yeah,
unless you're willing to accept sponsored money by Papsi.
Papsi. Yeah,
Sponsored by
Papsi,
Papsi.
our Lord and Savior. Shower of golden soda, but it's
For
dark.
for the image, I'm gonna make the Papsi logo, and that's just
No, please do. I'd love to see that.
sponsored. And then in every podcast after this, in like the bottom right corner, it's just gonna be sponsored by
Sponsored
Papsi.
by Papsi. Sponsored by Papsi.
Episode 2, and we already got running jokes. Nice. Oh god.
That's how you do it, man.
Yeah. It's probably not nearly as funny as we think it is. And like next
It's
Monday,
funny to us because we're making the joke and experiencing the joke, but to someone who is trying hard to get entertained, they're probably
why are you watching us? Step
yes,
1.
exactly.
Go like co-optional
Step one is watching
podcast,
good YouTube videos.
Triforce
Watching
podcast.
YouTube videos.
There's so many good podcasts out there that are just miles better than ours. But are any of them bi-weekly?
Exactly.
Oh.
We don't even. I don't even know actually.
I
I have no idea.
I listened to I like podcasts, but I only really know of two. I only really listen to two of them, but both of them are once a week, and that's when Triforce Podcast can actually be fucking asked to put out a podcast every week.
Oh,
Uh, we could talk about because I is it mean to say like because the podcast was my idea.
yeah.
Um, and a lot of it is inspired from the Yogpod and Triforce podcast, where it's just like very free form. It's obviously not nearly as good because we're not that funny,
No, yeah.
but
This is a skill that just gets better with time.
yeah,
It kind of goes hand in hand with everyone. Because if you watch everyone's, like all the good YouTubers, if you watch their first few videos, it's not that good, but you definitely see the improvement. And eventually that improvement just comes naturally.
yeah.
And, you just have quality where you don't have to struggle to make the quality.
Well,
It just comes.
the thing like because the reason that I listen to podcasts is I listen to them in the car mostly. Um, and I just sort of like them, so it's like it's something to listen to in the background.
Yeah.
So I wanted there to be more good podcasts, and maybe, just maybe, with the help of Papsi,
Papsi, our Lord and Savior.
Papsi bless.
Hashtag Papsi bless.
Hashtag get that trending. One person who's watching this.
Exactly. You know what? I'll make Papsi a religious figure in my life. The next time I summon at a gacha, I'll pray to the Papsi god.
Pray to Papsi. Papa Papsi. Can we
The
call
Papsi, the good summon boss.
Papa Papsi?
I'll even call you Daddy Papsi.
Oh god. Uh, I also sort of figured. I mean, these first few episodes are a lot going to be talking about where the podcast is going. I sort of figured that like depending on what the people who will hopefully eventually start watching us want, we might specialize a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like if we get a lot of people who want us to talk about League of Legends, then we'll talk about League of Legends.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that kind of goes along with when you said we'll play it by ear.
yeah,
Because right now we're kind of general because we don't have an audience who necessarily has something specific that they want.
yeah,
So we're just kind of going around a little bit with our. I mean, we're obviously still specializing a tad bit in writing and gaming.
yeah.
But
Well, because
we
I
could specialize furthermore if our audience wanted us to.
yeah, I mean, because I thought about like what we could focus on, but like because we like League of Legends, for instance, but I don't know if we could make a whole hour-long podcast every week about League of Legends.
I think it'd be less about a whole podcast just about League of Legends and more so a definite section dedicated to talking about League of Legends. Because, I mean, I have watched a few, well, maybe not podcasts per se, but just talking segments or that are, about an hour long or 30 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily even if their channel is specialized, they don't necessarily focus on a specific subject, but that subject definitely is guaranteed to get mentioned, and they do talk about it for a good bit. It's kind of, Good Mythical Morning.
Yeah.
You know how they have the title and whatnot, but you come to realize the title and what they're advertising is not the 100% focus on their topic, but it's guaranteed to show up and like be talked about. But then they'll move on to other things and talk about
Yeah,
those
I
other.
gotcha. I understand. I think that we'll get it down a formula as we go
Yeah,
on.
I mean,
Um,
it's practice makes perfect, you know.
one of the things that I did is that we could actually cover news at some point if we were. But I mean,
You
like,
said nudes.
why would you cover nudes? Isn't the whole point of news is that it? Never mind. I'm just. I'll stop there. We can't get too inappropriate for Papsi, sponsored by
Family
Papsi.
friendly, sponsored by Papsi.
I'm pretty sure I've sworn like 4 times this entire this podcast alone.
It's
We
fine.
it's fine. It's fine. When we
There,
do it
there are
live,
worser, there are worser ways to go.
we're gonna get fucked by the YouTube algorithm. That's probably what's gonna happen.
You just cursed again.
I don't know what you're fucking talking about.
Uh,
I don't curse at all.
you're right. It's fine.
I would never do that to Papa Pepsi.
Pop,
Sponsored by Pepsi.
Papsi. Wait, I already forgot how to say it. Papsi.
Papsi.
Papsi. Papsi.
We're gonna totally forget about this by Monday. I guarantee it.
Probably, honestly. Or we'll keep making cringy jokes to each other and never forget it, even if we really, really, really wanted to.
It's gonna be like, judging by it, it's gonna be the next group meme, and like for the next 3 months, no one's gonna shut up about it, and everyone else is gonna think it's annoying except for us because we're idiots.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Oh man! All right, we have like 4 minutes left. So you want to know? Have you played any games? Do you actually play any games besides League of Legends, JC?
Yeah. I
What
mean,
what have you
I
played this
have.
week?
I don't know if you know this, but the summer of my eighth grade year, which is when I met Ande, uh, I was a really hardcore gamer before I got utterly screwed by life and work and social presence.
Yeah,
Um, I
you're one of
played
those
lots of
popular
games.
kids.
Exactly. Or probably. Yeah, well, anyway, I used to play so much. I logged, and this is just summer, by the way. I logged like 540 hours on Spiral Nights.
Jesus,
Yes,
what?
and I mean, this is nothing in comparison to my Lord and Savior Italian God Ande. I hope he appreciates me saying that because he better. He has, I'm pretty sure, I'm gonna pull a number out my butt because I haven't checked in forever, and he has 2,000 hours on Killing Floor, and
Oh,
that's just on like one account. And from the last time I checked, if I'm gonna be more realistic, we're probably looking at about 4,000 hours total, maybe,
Jesus
on both Killing
Christ!
Floor and Killing Floor 2 across his accounts. But
Holy
it
crap,
could be more, honestly. But yes, it
man!
is
Uh,
absolutely insane.
I am such a fucking casual.
I know. You don't even realize how casual you
You
hear these people's playtimes.
Oh man. Well, I think we could save that. Well, I mean, we promised we'd talk about League the last podcast, but we didn't do that this podcast. So let's make another promise and promise that we'll talk about games next podcast. We'll talk about we'll talk about our experiences with different games because I've been playing a lot of stuff. I've been playing RimWorld, a lot of RimWorld actually. I
Oh, have you played One Shot?
One Shot.
Yeah.
What's that about? I have not played it.
Oh,
I've not even heard of it.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you after the podcast. Its popularity is kind of dead now, but I'm pretty fond of the game. I think it's really good.
Well, if you
Uh,
want, we could be topical and we could talk about Prey.
Prey.
You haven't even heard it?
Oh, I was
It's
gonna watch. I saw Markiplier was playing it, and I was
it's
gonna watch his playthrough, but well, as I said, I haven't really been watching anything on YouTube because my life has been consumed by misery and sorrow,
Rip Misery and Sorrow.
among various other things and whatnot.
Yeah, I gotcha. I was pretty dead today after the podcast because I was AP testing until 4 o'clock. We got out at like 4:20, and I got home at like 4:40, and then
You took
immediately,
a AP Stats test today, yeah?
yes,
Okay, well, don't discuss the questions because I don't want to invalidate your score. Because I heard some people were talking about the AP Lang test on
yeah.
Twitter, and then BuzzFeed posted their things on Twitter, and then all their scores, like thousands and thousands of people's scores, got invalidated, and that broke my heart, honestly. But how did you feel about the AP Stats test?
But uh,
Did you feel
they
prepared? I'll just leave it there.
hang on. First off, the multiple choice questions were a mix between do you know basic algebra? You can solve this. To there was a like just questions where it's like I have no idea. Like this wasn't even taught in my class. I will on a definitely completely unrelated note. I took another test recently that asked me to measure braking distance in square meters, which, yeah, I was taking this definitely not AP statistics test, and it was literally like a formula for it's like, how do you find the braking distance, except please convert the braking distance from feet into meters squared. And it's like, excuse me?
And I'm assuming you didn't learn that in class.
Well, no, like here's the thing, right? It's distance. You can't measure distance with area. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's like what? This isn't even statistics. There was
Josh,
also
how many milliliters is your computer? Length and widthwise.
length and widthwise.
Yeah.
How many milliliters?
Yes.
Dude, it's cray. It's cray. There was a apparently there was a spelling error on the test as well.
Ooh.
Like which
Free
is
five.
free 5.
Oh, I mean, sorry. This is a different, unrelated test though. So.
Yeah,
300. Sorry.
no, this test also happens to be 5 out of 5.
Oh, okay. That's convenient.
It's fine. No one will watch this. At least
Board is the only
unt-
people who watch
I'll be Oh yeah. We have 6 viewers, and one of them is the president of the college board. If you
Yes.
are president of the college board, I'd be happy to give you some of my Papsi money if you give me all 5s. I'm not above bribery. You can star. You yourself could star on the Writer's Blockade podcast. You could be our
It is a
first
high
guest.
honor.
Exactly.
Ruled by none, except maybe on the Papsi.
The Papsi podcast.
Which doesn't exist, so
Yet.
there
We
is no
should
great.
we should rename our podcast.
We'll rename our podcast once per episode.
Like, it was JCDC last time. Next time it's gonna be Papsi podcast.
I know we didn't really. I mean, we did address the name change, but in the last episode, it's kind of a harsh change of events because Writer's Blockade happened in between episodes.
Yeah.
So there was no real transition if you were to just watch episode 1 and then 2.
Well, the video itself is called the Writer's Blockade podcast.
Yeah.
Because by the time we're saying
No,
the
but-
date that it's Monday, but this is or that it's Thursday, but this
I
is
mean, I guess,
probably gonna go out
from
later.
this perspective, if you were to watch episode 1, you'd be wondering why are they talking about name of the episode or the name of the podcast as JCDC? Isn't it the Writer's Blockade? And then the beginning of this episode, yeah. So in
Now
between
you know.
episode,
So,
this happened.
viewer, thousands of years in the future, archiving when we're long famous with our Papsi blimp
True.
that's shaped like the Papsi logo.
We're immortal at this point. That's how powerful we've become.
Well, we've all been, our bodies have been long since like evolved out of it. We just put our brains in computers. And we live in the virtual worlds where we just sit around a lounge and just publish our podcast once every
Yeah.
every 2 hours. We publish an hour-long podcast. Just we're just constantly
There's no
talking.
need to drink, eat, or breathe or anything.
No,
so I
we
guess,
drink,
yeah.
eat, or breathe during the podcast. It's fine.
Oh yeah, you're right. I don't
Yeah.
know. I didn't.
I've been drinking some delicious Papsi soda while we were talking. Sponsored by
I've
Papsi.
been drinking Papsi water, sponsored by Papsi as well.
Sponsored by Papsi.
Yes.
I think that's
This sponsorship is also sponsored by Papsi.
Papsi. Sponsored by Papsi.
Papsi sponsored by Papsi. Pepsi sponsored by Papsi. Sponsored by Papsi.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a Hydra. Whenever you cut off one Papsi head, 3 more Papsis.
Sponsored by 2 more.
Yeah. Papsi's gonna spread, man. Soon Markiplier's gonna be sponsored by Papsi. Game Grumps are gonna be sponsored by Papsi. Every single thing is gonna have the Papsi logo on it. You'll be watching on your iPapsi.
Oh my! You walk through nature and there's a squirrel that runs by on its back with that Papsi logo.
Just like tattooed onto it. Oh, it's
No,
genetics.
genetically inputted to every animal.
They genetically bred the Papsi logo. This is becoming quickly post-apocalyptic.
Yes.
Now that I think about it,
I think we're out of time, aren't we?
we are 6 minutes over. So
Okay.
I think
Well,
that yeah,
Let's go ahead and resolve, yeah.
yeah. To sum up, sponsored by Papsi.
Sponsored by Pepsi. Thank you for watching, everyone.
Yeah, the outro is gonna play now. Super awesome. Thank you, League of Legends. Bye.